Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Troy Clayton, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Navy is Warrant Officer Cherie Thayers. Today marks the 123rd anniversary of the end of the Boer War in South Africa. The Boer War began in October 1899 after two Boer republics, the Orange Free State and Transvaal, fearing British colonial ambitions, invaded the British-held colonies of Natal and Cape Colony. The British suffered a series of successive heavy defeats, which came to be known as Black Week. The Australian colonies were quick to offer troops to Britain, and the first Australian contingents began arriving in South Africa in December 1899, too late to take part in the actions of Black Week. In February 1900, Queensland and New South Wales troops took part in the relief of Kimberley. The Boer armies became fragmented during 1900 after suffering a series of defeats. The Boers continued to operate in groups of highly mobile commandos, which fought a guerrilla war against the British and the Allies. The mobile war suited the Australians, who predominantly fought in mounted units, though their horses suffered terribly in the harsh conditions of the veldt. Australians took part in many iconic battles during the Boer War, such as Diamond Hill, Ellens River, and Williams Rust. After the Federation of Australia, on the 1st of January 1901, the new nation raised 8 battalions of mounted infantrymen for service in South Africa. However, only the first 2 battalions arrived in time to see service. The war came to an end on the 31st of May 1902, when the Boer Republic signed a treaty in Pretoria. Over 16,000 Australians served in South Africa in Australian contingents. Others served in British or South African units, and a small number fought for the Boers. Conditions in South Africa were particularly trying. Of Australia's 588 fatal casualties, 282 were killed in action or died of wounds. 286 died from disease, and another 38 died due to accidents or from other unknown causes. Today we remember all those who died as a result of their service during the Boer War, and whose names are recorded here on the Roll of Honour. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and their families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Return and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors to the memorial and representatives of the family. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is God by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Trooper Herbert Ernest Goodes. Herbert Goodes was born on the 11th of October 1875 in Ballally, South Australia, to James Goodes and Emily Florence née Robinson. He was one of their 11 surviving children. Little is known of his early life. His mother, Emily, died on the 30th of January 1893, aged 54, and his father remarried in 1900. As an adult, Herbert Goodes was a highly regarded member of the Jamestown community and was a celebrated member of the Jamestown Lacrosse Club. Goodes was working as a farmer when he decided to enlist for service in South Africa. He joined the 4th contingent of the South Australian Imperial Bushmen, raised and led by Lieutenant Colonel James Rowell, a noted South Australian farmer, horticulturalist and militia soldier. The contingent, comprising of 12 officers and 222 other ranks, was the largest force to leave South Australia at the time. They were later joined by a squadron from Tasmania and another from Western Australia, with Rowell remaining in overall command. The contingent sailed from Port Adelaide aboard the troop ship Manhattan on the 1st of May 1900, bound for Port Elizabeth, where they disembarked on the 19th of June. They began operations soon after. Over the next 11 months, the 4th Imperial Bushmen's contingent was almost constantly on operations, including against General Piet de Wet's forces near Elands River, where the South Australians distinguished themselves by keeping the Boers from overrunning a supply convoy. They saw action at Barkenkop and Stankhoutbom in July, before later assisting the relief in the besieged Elands River garrison in August. In late November, they took part in the Battle of Ulstenkop before pursuing General de Wet and his forces into the northern Transvaal. After distinguishing themselves in further actions during the advance on Petersburg, Goodes' unit then moved to the East Transvaal. On the 23rd of May, near the town of Bethel, Goodes was part of a 4-man patrol under Lance Corporal Sidney Lansdell that was engaged by a group of Boers as the Australians moved up the side of a ravine. During the initial exchange, Goodes was shot and killed, and another trooper was wounded. Lansdell was mortally wounded and died the following day. Goodes and Lansdell were initially buried near Bethel in the Eastern Cape province, but in the 1960s they reinterred at Germiston Cemetery. Goodes was 25 years old. In May 1903, a monument was unveiled to Goodes' memory in Jamestown, South Australia. His former commanding officer, Colonel James Rowell CB, gave the commemorative address. Goodes' name is also recorded on the South Australian Boer War Memorial on North Terrace in Adelaide. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, among almost 600 Australians who died while serving in the Boer War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Trooper Herbert Ernest Goodes, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old as we the left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We'll remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub of Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support during the memorial's development project. We wish you all a very pleasant evening. Thank you.